Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to make this key in 3D Studio Max. This image right here is actually going to be the reference image that we use to make our 3D object. We're going to build our object right on top of the reference image. Just like when you trace a 2D image, we're going to be building a 3D image over top of an existing image so we can see that we're getting it right. So I'm going to pop over to 3D Studio Max here, and I've got my viewport layout here. Let me just delete what I already had. And now what I'm going to do is trace out a plane that we're going to put that reference image on. So it's kind of be like the top of the table, the instruction sheet, and then we're going to, or the template, and we're going to build on top of it. So I'm going to add a plane here, and I want it to have the same proportions as the reference image. The reference image is 600 by 200. So I could put that in here, but you'll see it'd be enormous. If I make that thing be, let's see, 600. 600 by 200. You will see that, where's our plane? Oh, I didn't make a plane. Oh, I gotta trace it out first. There we go. All right, there's our plane, and I'll put in, 200. I will put in 200 by 600. You'll see this thing is enormous, right? So we could probably scale this down to 100 by 300. As long as the proportions are the same, we'll be in good shape. Or we could even make it 50 by 150. That would work okay too. There we go. As long as the proportions are the same. And then you probably want to set length segs and width segs to 1, because we don't really need this thing subdivided into smaller polygons. We're not going to be working on it. We're not going to be adding detail to it. So now let's create the material that has the reference image on it. So I'm going to bring up the material editor here using the button that looks like a globe with checkers on it. And I get this big blank area, and this is where I can create my materials. So to do that, I right-click on the blank area, and I select what kind of material I want. And the one I want to make is a standard material. And the way I add an image to this material is that I hook it up to the diffuse color. So you'll see if I double-click on this, I'll get a kind of pop-up menu here that allows me to pick lots of different things. And the thing I want to pick is bitmap. So a bitmap is an image, right? So I'm just going to double-click on that. And then I can pick the file that I want to attach, or the image file I want to attach to this material. So you should be able to find this in the T drive under 3ds in a folder called key. So here's the key reference image. It's 600 by 200. There you go. It's a PNG file. I had trouble doing JPEGs. JPEGs didn't work, but PNG seems to work okay for reference images. So now you can see I've got this image attached to the diffuse color of the material. So now what you want to do is apply this material to your plane. So I'm going to click on the plane here and just make sure that that is selected. And then I'm going to go into the material editor, and you'll see this little box here that says assign material to selection. What you want to do is click on this so that the material is then applied to that object. So I just click there, and do we see it? We do not see it. It is interesting. Let me select this thing and go back to my material here and assign the material to selection. I don't see it. It's very strange. How about show material in viewport? Where do we have that? Show shaded material in viewport. Let's try that and see if it helps. There we go. Okay. So assign material to selection, and then if you don't see it, click on show shaded material in viewport. I don't always have to do that. This is actually the first time I've had to do that. So if you don't see your texture, then go hunting for this button right here. All right. So that's our reference image right now. And then the next thing we're going to do is build our key right on top of the reference image. So actually, I'm going to stop recording right now and pick up in another video. But you can come back and watch this video anytime you need to make a reference image. And maybe you've forgotten. Now, if you're going to model something complicated, you might have more than one reference image. You might have one for each view, a front, a back, a top, a left, right? So you might have multiple reference images But in this project, we're only going to use one. So anyway, I hope to see you in the next video, and if you have any questions about this, please ask.